Well, it's that time of year again. Oh dear God, please no. Mariah, can we at least get to Thanksgiving first? With Frostnite returning later tonight, I figured it would be a good time to explain how to build for Frostnite. I also want to show the best loadouts and the best weapons to use. But first, I want to show you what you can expect to see for each wave. And I'll leave a link to this wave spreadsheet in the description if you want to go check it out. And this is for the power level 128 Frostnite. There's 20 waves total. And for the first 3 waves, there's not going to be any mist monsters or elemental husks. And if you look towards the far right of this chart, you'll see the first wave lasts for about 1 minute and 45 seconds. The second wave lasts for about 1 minute and 50 seconds. And the third wave is going to last 1 minute and 55 seconds. And you can also see the amount of time you'll have in between each wave. We get our first lobber wave at wave 4. So you'll want to have your lobber shield up by then. And this is also our first kill wave. So you'll have to kill a certain amount of husk in order to end the wave. For wave 5, you'll get some flingers and takers with no element. For wave 6, you'll get some flingers and smashers with the water element. And for wave 7, you'll get some smashers and propanes. So you'll want to have your sound wall traps up before wave 7. On wave 8, you'll get your first mini boss as well as some takers. And this is another kill wave, so you're going to have to kill a certain amount of husk in order to end the wave. On wave 9, you'll get a heavy taker wave, as well as some flingers. And for taker waves, normally you just want to run around and avoid getting hit by takers. I would also recommend using the Baron with movement speed perks to help you avoid getting hit by takers. For wave 10, we'll get some takers, smashers, and propanes, as well as fire husk. And at this point, they'll be power level 352. On wave 11, we'll get 2 mini bosses, as well as some propanes and lobbers and fire husk. And this is another kill wave. And I'm going to show you a couple different ways on how to kill those mini bosses a little bit later. But for wave 12, we'll get the heavy propane wave with flingers and smashers and fire husk. For wave 13, we'll get some more takers. For wave 14, we'll have heavy smashers along with fire husk. For wave 15, we'll get lobbers, as well as some propanes, takers, smashers, and fire husk. And for wave 16, we'll get propanes, takers, smashers, and nature husk. On wave 17, we'll get 3 mini bosses, as well as fire husk, and this is another kill wave. For wave 18, we'll get another heavy lobber wave, as well as some smashers and water enemies. On wave 19, you'll get some takers and smashers with water enemies. And on wave 20, you'll get 3 more mini bosses, as well as water husk. And at that point, they'll be power level 502. And I'm going to show you how you can easily kill the mini bosses a little bit later. But that's sort of a breakdown on what you can expect to see for each wave in Frostnite. Now when it comes to weapons, I would recommend you use either the pot shot, and we'll mainly use this for mist monsters and mini bosses. You can also use the Xenon bow, which you'll use for regular husk and mist monsters. I suppose you could also use the deatomizer for mobs. Just keep in mind that it uses a lot of energy ammo. You'll definitely want to use a discharger that also uses a lot of energy ammo, so you'll mainly just want to use it for mist monsters and mini bosses. And the last weapon you'll want to use is the Baron. On mine, I have 3 movement speed perks, and basically you just want to equip it during taker waves, and that's going to help you avoid getting hit by the takers. I suppose you could also use it if you're running around the map to farm for materials and resources. And that's pretty much all the weapons we used when we beat Frostnite last year. When it comes to loadouts, we had 3 people using a constructor loadout, as well as 1 person using an outlander loadout. For one of the constructor loadouts, we have power base Penny with the recycling team perk. And for our support team, we have base Kyle, bomb squad Kyle, electro pulse Penny, Dyer, and crossbones Barrett. And for our gadgets, we have the hover turret and slow field. Our second constructor loadout used base Kyle as their commander with the recycling team perk. And for the support team, we have a power base constructor, mega base Kyle, pathfinder Jess, Dyer, and crossbones Barrett. And for our gadgets, on this loadout, we have slow field and supply drop. Our third constructor used the Ice King with the Supercharged Traps team perk. And for the support team, we have Mega Base Kyle, Electro Pulse Penny, Thunder Thora, and Heavy Base Kyle. And for their gadgets, we have Slow Field and Banner. And there's a couple different variations you can use for the Outlander loadout. You could have Fossil Southie as your commander. You could also use Clip as your commander, but for this one we have Archaeologist as our commander with the Blast from the Past team perk. And for our support team, we have Fossil Southie, Dyer, Clip, Triceratops Ramirez, and Crossbones Barrett. And when it comes to gadgets, we're going to use the teleporter and the turret. And you'll want your Outlander to have the teleporter so they can get in and out of the base without putting themselves in danger with the husks that are around the base, so they can drop off materials and resources without dying. And those are the 4 loadouts I would recommend when it comes to Frostnite. And everybody should be farming when it comes to Frostnite. Obviously, constructors are going to have to spend some time building as well, but when it comes to the Outlander class, their only job is going to be farming materials and resources. Obviously, there's a lot of different loadouts you can use, but if you're unsure which loadout you should use, then you can use one of these 4 that I just showed. And last thing I want to do before we get into the build is show an aerial view of the entire Frostnite map. And I'll leave a link to this image in the description if you want to go check it out. Every sea that you see is a potential cave spawn. Every chest symbol is a location where a chest can spawn. And when it comes to chest, the best farming route for chest is going to be in the bottom right of the map. There's a cave down there that has a lot of chests in it. The bacon symbol on the left is a good place to farm bacon. There's also an Easter egg towards the top right of the map that can sometimes spawn. But the way this works is all of the blue squares you see are what they call opportunity zones, and they can pretty much change every time you load in. So one time there may be a barn house there. The next time you load into Frostnite, it may be a frozen lake. So those blue squares can vary, but everything else on this map is going to remain the same. And the last thing I want to do is show you how to build for Frostnite. And we're actually going to use the Frostnite practice map. You can see the code on your screen. And big shout out to Mystic for making this Frostnite practice map for us. But yeah, if you ever want to practice your Frostnite build without actually having to be in Frostnite, this is a good place to do it. Again, I'll leave codes in the description if you want to go practice yourself. But yeah, this is a really good way to practice building in Frostnite without actually having to be in Frostnite. So as soon as you load in, you want to go ahead and hold the start button. And here's what the Frostnite map looks like. Alright, so the first thing you want to do is put 4 metal windowed walls all around the burner. Then you're going to want to put metal floors all around those. And for the first 2 or 3 waves, you can just go ahead and place a base down here and put wall spikes on each of these walls. And that should be enough to help you get through the first 2 or 3 waves. Eventually, you're going to want to put ramps in front of these walls though. You probably put these down maybe on wave 3 or 4. And on each side of these ramps, you want to put a low wall. So we're going to put one on this side. We'll also put one here. And we're going to do this for each of the 4 directions. Just put a low wall on both sides of each ramp. There we go. Alright, so the next thing we need to do is place down our sandwiches. And you're going to place down this cone piece and open it up towards the outside. And then you're going to surround it with 4 metal walls. And we're going to do this 2 times in each corner. So we lay down another cone piece, have it facing outside, and then surround it. And then we surround it with 4 metal walls. So it sort of looks like this on this corner. And we're going to do the same thing in every corner. We're just going to put down the cone, have it facing out, surround it with 4 walls. Same thing here, have it facing out, and surround it with 4 walls. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other 2 corners. Same thing here, have it facing out, surround it. Same thing here, facing out, and surround it. Alright, we just need to do it one more time on this corner. Have it facing out and surrounded by walls. And on this side we have it facing out, surrounded by walls. So that's how you build the sandwiches. And again, you're going to want to have 2 of those for each corner. Now to this point, the only place you could sort of place your base is in these corner areas next to the ramps. But now we're going to go ahead and start on the 2nd level. And once we start on the 2nd level, you can go ahead and move your base to the 2nd level on this corner piece. And the way we build on the 2nd level is we have 1 half floor piece above the ramp and then a full floor piece in the corner. Again, above the ramp you'll have a half floor piece, and above the corner you'll have a full floor piece. And again, once you build these floor pieces on the 2nd level, you can go ahead and move your base up here. And another thing you can do is place these arch pieces above the burner. You may also want to put a roof on it. And once we've done that, we can go ahead and start working on our trap tunnels. Now the way it goes is starting directly here underneath our ramp. You want to build one floor piece, another floor piece, and then a wall, a full wall. Then we'll surround that full wall with more floor pieces. We'll also attach a wall on the outside like this. And once you do all that, we can go ahead and add our ceiling over the trap tunnel. We can also add a ceiling here. And we're going to build this same exact tunnel in each of the 4 directions. So I'm going to go ahead and build another one over here. Again, you go 1 piece, 2 piece, full wall, surround this with floor pieces, and surround that with more wall pieces. Keep this part open. And then once you have all the walls, you can go ahead and add your ceiling pieces. Same thing in this direction. We go 1, 2, full wall, floor pieces all around, wall pieces all around except for this spot, and then the ceiling piece. Same thing on this side. 2 floors, then a wall, surround it with floor pieces, and surround it with wall pieces. So that's how you build your trap tunnels for this particular build. And we also need to put our ceiling pieces on. I'm gonna get rid of this tree, it's sort of in the way here. But yeah, this is what the trap tunnel looks like. You walk in, you go around, and then you get to our ramp piece here. And I'll explain which traps you're gonna wanna use and where to place them. And once you place down all of your trap tunnels, the next thing you'll wanna do is add another sandwich. And you'll wanna place it in between your original 2 sandwiches. And you also wanna have it facing the same way. So we're gonna open it up this way. And then we're going to add 2 metal walls on the outside. Same thing on this side, you'll have it facing the same way. Add 2 walls, don't trap yourself in like I did. Same thing on this corner. We'll add a cone, have it facing out, and then surrounded by 2 walls. And same thing, well actually we don't really need it in this corner, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. Just have it facing out and then add 2 walls. And so we got the burner here. We got our trap tunnel here, and on the sides we have 3 sandwiches. Then we have another trap tunnel, then another 3 sandwiches, and another 3 sandwiches, another trap tunnel, another 3 sandwiches. Again, make sure they face the same way as the other 2. Alright, now once we've gotten all of this built, we can go ahead and start working on our lobber shield. And the way you want to do it is you want to go to the last floor piece or ceiling piece in your trap tunnel and build a ramp on top of it. And the way we build it is we're going to do a 3x3. And I suppose you could use brick for this part. Once we get the 3x3 up, we're going to go ahead and put 3 floor pieces on the outside. And technically you could use wood for these floor pieces out here. But yeah, we're going to do the same thing in each of the 4 directions. So we'll go back over here, add our ramps, and again we're going to do 3x3 for the ramps. And then once you build the ramps, you're going to build floor pieces, and you're going to extend that out to 3 tiles. Now we got 2 sides done. Let's go ahead and do the 3rd side. And I suppose you could use brick for these ramps if you're running low on metal. Use brick for those, and then use wood for the floor pieces out here. Now we just have one more direction to do. Again, you can use brick for the ramps, and then use wood for the floor pieces up here, and extend that out to 3 tile. Now once you've gotten that done, you want to go ahead and fill in the space in between the ramps. So what we're going to do is, and you can just place floor pieces here to connect it, and then we'll go ahead and extend this out as well. Make sure that goes all the way up. Make sure this goes all the way up. And for this one, we'll have to place this here, place that there. And for here, we'll have to place this here and add 2 up here. Now all we have to do is just fill in the gaps. So we'll go ahead and fill that in. Put 1 here, 1 here, and 1 here. And from here, all you have to do is just finish putting out your floor pieces. And again, you want to have this done before wave 4, because on wave 4 you're going to have lobbers, and they will destroy your base if you don't have your lobber shield up. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and fill in the rest, doing what we just did. First thing I do is add some floor pieces here. Then we're going to finish adding our ramps. Same thing over here. Finish adding our ramps. And again, you could use brick for this part. And once you have that, you can go ahead and fill in the gaps. And again, at the top here, you need to put your floor pieces down. If you need help with the lobber shield, like if you don't think you're going to finish it before wave 4 starts, just make sure you let somebody in your lobby know and ask them to help you out. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and do the last two, but yeah, we're pretty much going to use the same approach we used for the first two. I'm going to go ahead and fill these out real quick. Also, a couple things I should point out. Last year we couldn't build through terrain. This year we can, and there is a little slope that's very close to the burner. I suppose you could try to add like a trap tunnel here if you want, but normally what we do is we just put a sandwich here and then surround that with a full wall. You can also put a floor here, put a cone on top of it, and another wall here, just to add some layers and prevent them from wanting to attack from this direction. Usually if you add enough layers, they'll just go around and go through your trap tunnel. Also, when it comes to the lobber shield, technically you don't really have to have it in all 4 directions by wave 4. You can just sort of build it in the directions they're spawning from. So let's say they're spawning from the south and the west, for example. You'll want to have your lobber shield built in the south and western directions. You don't really have to worry about the other 2 directions, at least for wave 4. But eventually you'll want to finish filling out your entire lobber shield. And this is what it looks like when it's fully completed. And one thing I should point out with these tiles up here is that sometimes supply drops will fall and land on here. You can extend it out a little bit if you want to catch those supply drops up here. That way you don't have to open them up down near the husk. You should be able to catch all the supply drops if you have it extended 3 tiles out. And once you have this lobber shield built, you shouldn't need any anti-air traps. And so that's sort of why this is important and why you want to build your lobber shield before wave 4. Alright, so now that we got our lobber shield done, next thing I want to do is explain what traps to use and where to put them. So before we go over the traps you put in the tunnel, first thing I want to do is explain what traps to put on the outside. You're going to want to have sound walls on this wall and sound wall trap on this wall. Same thing over here, you want to have a sound wall on this wall, and the perks you want to put on your sound walls on this wall and on this one. The perks you want to use are all durability and no reload speed perks. And again, you want to put sound walls on this one and on this one. And the reason we're putting sound walls on these walls is to make the sploders drop their propane tanks before they get inside the tunnel. Alright, so when it comes to the inside, on this first floor piece we're going to put wooden floor spikes. On this first wall, we're going to have a sound wall trap with 2 reload speed perks on it. For these 2 pieces, it doesn't really matter what traps you put here. You can either go with freeze traps or tar pits. We'll go ahead and use freeze traps for this example. You put a freeze trap here, a freeze trap here, and then we'll put another wooden floor spike on this piece. We'll put a wall dart here, and again over here we'll have freeze trap, freeze trap. So again it goes wooden floor spike, sound wall with 2 reload speeds, freeze trap, wooden floor spike, wall dart. On this piece we're going to put a tar trap just to help catch the smashers that are charging towards the base. Right here we're going to put a floor launcher. On these low walls we're going to have wall dynamos. On these big walls we're going to have broadsides on these 2 walls. So you want to have broadsides on here next to the tar pit. We'll have a wall launcher right here and a wall launcher on this piece. Right here we'll have a wall dart. Same thing on the other side. We'll have a wall dart here. We'll have a wall dart on this piece and a wall dart on this piece, as well as a wall dart on this one, facing that way. Now for this piece we'll have a sound wall trap and another sound wall trap. So just to run through everything again really quick, we'll have wooden floor spikes, 2 freeze traps, wooden floor spikes, tar pit, floor launcher, wall dynamos on the low walls, broadsides on these big walls, wall launchers on that one, wall launcher on that one, wall dart on this, and wall dart here. Same thing on the other side, we'll have a wall dart here and a wall dart here. We'll also have a wall dart on the back of this. We'll have a sound wall on this one, sound wall trap on this one, and a sound wall trap on this one. And when it comes to the ceiling pieces for your trap tunnel, you could just put gas traps on every ceiling piece if you have enough bacon. If you run out of gas traps or if you don't have enough materials, then you'll want to put a gas trap on here, a gas trap on these 2 pieces, and on these side ceiling pieces you can have ceiling electric field traps, and those are the traps you want to use when it comes to your trap tunnel. We also want to place some traps on the inside. So right here next to the burner, you'll want to put wall darts on each of these 2 walls, and you'll want to do that for every direction. In this corner we'll have another 2 wall darts, and this corner we'll have 2 more wall darts, same thing for the other corner. Another thing you could do is add healing pads on these ramps directly outside of the burner. You can also put healing pads on this floor piece in between the ramps, but yeah, you can also put traps on the inside as well. Another thing I should explain before I go is how to use the teleporter. So again, the teleporter is going to help you get in and out of your build without having to fight any husk. You can go ahead and place your teleporter anywhere on the inside here, preferably next to where you plan on dropping your mats and resources. So for example, we can just say we'll put one of our teleporters here, and then when we leave, we'll place the other teleporter somewhere far away from the action. So you could just place the other teleporter like somewhere over here, and doing it this way will allow your Outlander as well as your other constructors to get inside of the build without having to fight any of the high power level husks that are going through your tunnel. And once they teleport inside, let's say for example we put our teleporter here, once they teleport inside, they can drop off their mats for the builders, then they jump right back through the teleporter and they'll teleport back to the outside and they can continue farming. So that's sort of how you use the teleporter. Keep in mind, while you're out here farming, you'll want to pick up blue glow because you'll need that to keep the burner lit. And sometimes it doesn't always show on the map. Sometimes you'll have to actually like get close to it before it appears. So even if you don't see any blue glows on your map, you still want to run around and search for them. You should get some more blue glow to spawn in after every wave. I guess once you have all these pieces fully upgraded, you can go ahead and cover those 3 pieces on each of the 4 corners once they're fully upgraded. But yeah, this is what the final build will look like in Frostnite. Oh, almost forgot, when it comes to mini boss waves, the way you do it is you want to have one person, let's say in each of the directions. So you want to have like one person down here towards the southwest, another person towards the southeast, one towards the northeast, one towards the northwest. And again, on the mini boss waves, which is 8, 11, wave 17 and wave 20, you'll want to get everybody prepared before the wave starts, because as soon as the wave starts, those mini bosses are going to spawn in. And as soon as they spawn in, you could try to kill them using your discharger and your pod shot, but a really easy way to get rid of the mini bosses is to run to the edge. Well, first you'll have to shoot them to get their attention, and once they've aggroed onto you, you want to run towards the edge of the map. And there's a few different ways you can make them run off the edge. One really simple way is to build out, I want to say about 3 or 4 tiles, then build over and then bring it back. And once you've got them aggroed, like once they're starting to charge at you, you want to just stand here and they'll keep charging at you and they'll run off the side of the map. And you'll want to do that for each of the mini bosses on every mini boss wave. Or like I said, if you can kill them, like if they have some decent modifiers, you can try doing that as well. That's definitely the easiest way to get rid of the mini bosses. But yeah, this is the Frostnite build that we've used for the last 3 or 4 years, and it's worked every year. Assuming they don't make any changes this year, it should work again this year. A couple things I should point out that's different than last year is that Warden Kyle got buffed, so that may be a hero you want to consider using, or at least putting in your support team. And another difference between this year and last year is that you can now build through terrain. So like with this slope, for example, you could build like a little trap tunnel on the slope if you want. But the way we did it was we just put a sandwich directly outside of it, put some layers on top of it. That should be good enough for this direction. But yeah, you can also build through terrain this year, and those are like the only 2 big differences I can think of between this year and last year. Warden Kyle got buffed, and you can also build through terrain. But that's pretty much it when it comes to the Frostnite build. Again, I'll leave a link to this practice map in the description if you want to practice for yourself. I will leave a link to some Frostnite gameplay in the description if you want to go check it out. If you need help with Frostnite, be sure to either join our Discord or follow on Twitch. We usually help quite a few people out every year, so if you need help with it, those are a couple of good places to start. And I'll leave a link to our Discord and Twitch in the description. And if y'all want me to stream some Frostnite on YouTube, let me know in the comments below. But we'll definitely be streaming some on Twitch. But yeah, that's everything I wanted to go over for this one. Before I go, I did want to give a huge shout out to everybody who's been using creator code A1. And I also wanted to give a shout out to our YouTube members. Anyways, I hope y'all have a
happy Frostnite, everybody!
And thanks for watching.
Been a go, but it's some stuff I won't let her do. If I get to shooting this RPG, I need props like a stepper. Let's do it. They tried to get me with spike traps, they know I'm like that, smooth like a criminal. If they try to bite, I'ma bite back, man. I just swipe that, I need residuals.